To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
Hello dear grade 7 children. Today we are going to learn the 19th lesson of the science textbook, that is sources of energy. Now this is the last lesson of grade 7 science book children, right? So far we learned many lessons, right? So we learned a lot of new things in this grade, okay children? So when you go to grade 8 also, you will realize some of the things that we have learned in grade 7 are still you are going to learn. You are going to continue learning some of these lessons, right? So sources of energy. This is that type of lesson that you are going to learn again and again. Okay, children? So even before, we have discussed about this topic many times, children. Even in grade 6, we learn about sources of energy. What is the meaning of sources of energy and what are we going to learn under this lesson, children? Let's go and see. So we are going to learn this lesson under 3 main topics, okay? Renewable energy sources. Now, when we consider about sources of energy, in grade 6 last year, you all have learned that sources of energy means the things that provide energy. Okay, children? So, under this lesson, we are going to learn the sources of energy under 2 categories as renewable energy sources and non-renewable energy sources. Right, children? And then the third topic we are going to learn about sustainable use of energy sources. Even this topic we discussed briefly in grade 6. So you all are going to learn a little more about the same things that you have learned in grade 6. So we'll start the lesson. So we will go through this. Do you know that to engage in every day-to-day activities, you need energy? So we have studied this before, right? So energy means the ability to do work. Why do we call energy the ability to do work, children? Because without energy, we cannot do any work, right? So in order to do different activities in our daily life, we need to have energy. So we get that energy by different ways, okay? So we get energy from the sources of energy. The places or the things that provide energy are called sources of energy, right? Sources of energy. So here we have to fill this table. Different activities and energy sources. Now before I explain this one, try to do this. Try to fill this table by yourselves, children. This is very easy. We have done these type of activities even before. Right? Now try to do this activity by yourselves, children. Right. So here the activity is given boiling water and cooking. The source of energy, here given energy source. Where do we get the energy to boil water and also for cooking? So you all know, most of the time we use LP gas, right? LP gas is collected in gas cylinders, right? They are stored in gas cylinders, and in gas cookers we use these gas cylinders, right? So most of us use gas cookers, therefore we can write LP gas as one source of energy, right? What are the other sources? When we use electric cookers like rice cookers, okay, we use electricity. That is another source of energy, another type of energy. Okay, children, but there are different ways that we get electricity too. Okay, boiling water, cooking, and what else, children? Firewood is also another source of energy, right? Now in grade 6, we learned that firewood is coming under biomass. Okay, children, firewood is coming under biomass. We will write some of them. LP gas. LP gas. Electricity. Biomass. Right, children? Okay, for transportation. For transportation, most of the time, to run our vehicles, we use petrol and diesel. And electric cars also there, then electricity is also correct, okay? Transportation, petrol, diesel, electricity. Right. Drying clothes and different things. To dry substances, basically we can use solar energy or solar power. Right? Using the sun's heat, we can dry things. And at the same time, when we dry clothes and all, even before we learn that the energy contained in the wind is also very important. Okay, children, not only that, using electricity. Let's say that when we dry clothes, sometimes we use cloth dryers, right? Electric cloth dryers. Okay, children, so electricity is also correct, okay? Drying clothes and different things. Solar energy or solar power. Wind, electricity. Right, children? Using the TV, radio, computer to run these type of machines, we need electricity. Electricity. Right? Operating machines in factories, there also we need, most of the time we need electricity, and sometimes in certain factories they use diesel as well, okay? Electricity, diesel. Right, children? So these are some instances, some activities that we do in our day-to-day lives, okay? And now when any kind of activity is given, just by looking at that, you can decide what type of energy sources are used in each instance. Right, children? So this was an easy activity. Okay? So when you look at these energy sources, observe carefully. Now, even though we considered here energy sources electricity, so electricity is a type of energy. So electricity is generated by different methods. Okay, electricity can be generated by different methods using solar cells, using chemical cells, using dynamos. Electricity can be generated. Right, so most of the time when to run the dynamos, you all know there are different other methods can be seen. So when electricity is generated by dynamos, in order to run these dynamos, different methods are used, right? The power of wind, right? And the energy contained in flowing water, okay? And the energy contained in wind also can be used. So those are actually coming under the sources of energy, okay? So generally we wrote electricity, but behind electricity there are different sources of energy again, okay? So when you consider these type of energy sources, right, you all can see now when you consider LP gas, right, LP gas, petrol, diesel, they all are coming under, now you know, they all are coming under fossil fuels. So do you remember last year in grade 6 we learned that in order to produce fossil fuels naturally, it takes millions of years. Right, children? And at the same time, when you consider solar power, wind, even biomass, these type of energy sources are readily available, which means we never run out of these type of energy sources. It's always there. Right, children? So depending on this time taken to produce them, we can divide these energy sources into two main groups. Those are renewable and non-renewable energy sources. So now we are going to learn about renewable and non-renewable energy sources, right? Okay. So energy sources can be divided into two groups. This is depending on the time period they take to reproduce or to produce again, right? We will write renewable energy sources, renewable energy sources, and number two, non-renewable energy sources. Non-renewable energy sources. Right? Energy sources can be divided into two groups, renewable energy sources and non-renewable energy sources. So what are renewable energy sources? Remember children, renewable energy sources means the type of energy sources that always forms while we are using them. Right? Or within a very short period of time, they reproduce. Okay, they reproduce again within a very short period of time, which means they are always available. Right? What is the meaning of non-renewable energy sources? Non-renewable energy sources, after using the present amount of energy sources, it will not reproduce again, or it will take a very, very long period of time, like millions of years to reproduce again. Right, children? So, depending on this time period, we can divide the energy sources as renewable and non-renewable energy sources. So, look at these two diagrams, right? Some certain types of energy sources are given in both these diagrams. So, by looking at this, you have to name them as renewable and non-renewable. Look at this first diagram, solar power. Solar power is always there. We will never run out of solar power. Right? Biomass. Now here by this plant leaf, it indicates biomass. Biomass, what is biomass? Biomass means, even in grade 6 we learn, biomass means any plant or animal material that can be used as fuel, right, to produce energy. So it is always there, right? Plants are also there. Okay, and the energy contained in wind or wind power. Wind is also always present in the environment. Right? What is this? This is known as geothermal energy. Geothermal energy means a large amount of heat energy produced in certain areas of the earth. Right, children? What is this? We can consider this as energy contained in the flowing water. Right? What is the type of energy contained in the flowing water, children? That is called kinetic energy. Right? So this energy contained in the flowing water can be used to generate electricity by rotating turbines. So this energy is also always there in the environment. So what type of energy source, which group is this out of these first and second? This is the renewable energy sources. Right? We will first name them. Solar power, biomass, wind power, geothermal energy, geothermal energy. Here energy in flowing water. Flowing water. Right? And at the same time, we can name this group as renewable energy sources. Renewable energy sources. Look at this side, children. Now look at this side, children. What can you see? This one we can consider as mineral oil. Right? Mineral oil, coal, right? Natural gas, nuclear energy or nuclear power. Right? Last year we learned that when we consider mineral oil, coal and natural gas, they are coming under fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are non-renewable. They take a long time period to produce them. Right, and at the same time, nuclear energy can be produced by using certain radioactive elements. Right, when we use the present amount of element present in soil, again, in order to produce them, it takes a long time. Therefore, nuclear power also can be considered as non-renewable energy sources. Right, therefore, this side is non-renewable energy sources, right? Non-renewable energy sources. So we will name them mineral oil, coal, right? Natural gas, nuclear power. Right, children? So mineral oils, coal, natural gas, nuclear power, they are coming under non-renewable energy sources. Right, children? Next, we are going to do a very interesting activity to understand this concept of renewable and non-renewable energy sources. We'll move on to the next. Right. Understanding the concepts of renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Okay. So what do we need to do this activity? We need two similar glass tanks. We will write two similar glass tanks. And then we need cups of different sizes, right? So we need, if we are doing this as a group activity at school now, that is the method we are going to explain now. But in the lab, I am going to do this activity by myself, right? So if you are doing it alone at home, which you can do very easily, right? Then you need two similar sized cups and one larger cup than that, right? Okay. So here's, however, we will write cups of different sizes. Two sizes should be there. So three cups from the same size and one cup from a larger size, okay? And then we need a water basin. A water basin. Right, children? Two similar glass tanks. So if you are doing this alone, like I'm going to show you all in the lab, just one glass tank is enough, okay? And then cups of different sizes and a water basin, right? Okay, so how to do this activity? Now here in this activity, I'm going to explain you all how to do it with some of your friends, right? Several friends. But remember, in the lab, I'm going to show you all how to do it alone, right? So the method, name the two tanks as A and B. Ask two of your friends to be near tank A and another two near tank B. So which means you need 4 children to do this activity. Fill 3/4 of each tank with water. Give 2 same-sized cups to the friends near tank A, right? And give the other 2 cups to the friends near tank B. So we'll draw a small diagram to do this activity. Right. So if we consider this is tank A, it should be of similar size. Right. This should be tank B. Right? And then fill 3/4 of each tank with water. Right? And you have to mark the level. Okay, you have to mark the level as well. Then what do you have to do? So if you consider this is tank A and B. This is A, this is B. Right? Give 2 same-sized cups to the friends near tank A. Give the other 2 cups to the friends near tank B. 2 same-sized cups to the friends here. Right? So you need 2 cups there. Same size. Right? So you need 2 cups same sized. Right, children? It should be of same sized. Right. And then give the other 2 cups to the friends near tank B. I told you all we need 3 cups in same size and 1 cup larger than that. So here also we need cups in same size like this, and this side should be another cup we used should be bigger than this. Right? Then what you have to do is, when you consider tank A, ask one friend near tank A to take out a cup of water from the tank and ask the other to put a cup of water into the tank. So what we have to do is, when we consider tank A, one friend with, now 2 friends are there, they both have 2 cups of same sizes, right? So here, one friend should take 1 cup of water out. Then the other friend should put another cup of water into the tank. Right? Ask one friend near tank A to take out a cup of water from the tank and ask the other to put a cup of water into the tank. Notice the level of water in the tank. What will happen, children? Now, when you consider this level, here let's say that if the size of the cups are the same, let's say that the size is, volume is 100 milliliters. Using this cup, you remove 100 milliliters. Using a similar cup, you put 100 milliliters. What will happen to the water level? It will remain the same, because when one child removes 100 milliliters of water, the other child fills this tank again with 100 milliliters of water. So you have to keep another water basin separately. Right, children? Here what do you have to do? Now here, ask the friend with the big cup who is near the tank B to take out a cup of water from the tank, and ask the other friend with the smaller cup to put a cup of water into the tank. Now here the story is different, right? So the friend with the big cup should remove water. So let's consider this is 200 milliliters. The volume is 200 milliliters and this is 100 milliliters. These are also 100 milliliters. Right? The volume of each cup here, 100 milliliters, 100 milliliters, 100 milliliters. That one is 200 milliliters, right? So here what you have to do is, the friend with this 200 milliliters cup should remove water, cup full of water, and then the other friend near tank B with the 100 milliliters, with the smaller cup, he has to fill water into the tank. Right? Notice the level of water in tank B. What will happen even though you remove, each time, even though you remove 200 milliliters of water, you put back only 100 milliliters. What will happen with time when you do this activity many times, removing and refilling many times? What will happen? You will realize the level of water goes down. Right? So at school, you can do this activity with your friends. But even at home, without anyone's help, you can simply do this activity. So I will show you how to do that in the lab now. Right, children. Now we are going to do this activity to understand the concept of renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Okay, children, this is pretty interesting. You all can do this activity even at home. Okay, so here you all can see I have a tank of water. I'm here using colored water so that you all can observe very clearly. Okay, so you all can see I have marked the level of water at the moment. Okay, children. Now here I have another trough of water, and here I have an empty bowl, right? So at the same time, you all can see in the first activity, I am going to use 2 cups of the same size. Okay, they are the same size. Now look very carefully what I am going to do. I am going to take this cup. I am going to take a cup of water, cup full of water from this tank, and I am going to put it to this plastic bowl. And at the same time, I'm going to take another cup full of water from this small vessel and I'm going to put it to this tank. Right? So when I do this activity, look what happens to the level of water. Okay? Right. Again, I will do this activity. I'm going to take 1 cup from the tank. Right? Put it here. And then I'm going to take another cup from this trough and put it to the tank. Okay, children? What happens to the level? Level remains at the same place. Okay? I will do it one more time. Right. I will take 1 cup out of the tank and I will take another cup from this trough. Right. And put it into the tank. Right, children? So when I was doing this activity, did anything happen to the level of water? Nothing happened, children. Right? So using this activity, we can explain the concept of renewable energy sources. Now, renewable energy sources are the type of energy sources that we are not going to run out of. Right? Which means when we use these energy sources, they will reproduce again and again. Okay? At the same time or even later, but without any delay. So here in this activity, I am using the first cup, removing water from this tank and put it into this plastic vessel, right? It is similar to use of energy sources, right? Use of certain energy sources. And here I am taking the similar size cup and putting water back from similar amount of water from this vessel to the tank is similar to these energy sources reproducing, regenerating. Okay, children, which means the same amount we have taken regenerates with no time. Right, children? So these type of energy sources that regenerates fast, right, or at the same time are known as renewable energy sources. So what are the examples of renewable energy sources, children? Solar energy. We will never run out of solar energy. Wind energy, flowing water, biomass, right? These are coming under renewable energy sources. Okay, children? Right, children? We are going to do the second activity to understand about non-renewable energy sources. Right now, renewable energy sources are the energy sources that regenerate again in no time. Okay, children? So look at this activity. The same setup is there. The only difference is this time we are not going to use two similar cups. This time I am going to use the small cup and big cup. Okay, children? Now here I am going to take water just as in the first instance. Okay, I am going to take water from this big cup, from the tank, and then I am going to put water from the small cup. Right? Again, I will take water out from the big cup and I am going to refill water using the small cup. Right, children? So what happens to the level of water? In the first activity, the level of water remains the same. But here you all can see, even though I am taking from the small cup and refilling water, the level goes down. Okay, I will do it one more time. Taking water out from the big cup and then taking water from the small vessel and putting it to the tank. Right? So you all can see very clearly the water level goes down. So this is what happens in non-renewable energy sources. right? So in non-renewable energy sources, these are not like renewable energy sources. As we use them, so this is what happens in non-renewable energy sources, children. So non-renewable energy sources, as we use the energy source, they don't reproduce, or they reproduce within a very long period of time. Right, children? So here, what happens? If I keep on doing that, this activity, you will realize this water level will go down and down. Okay, children? So the reason is, even though the reproduction of these energy sources, the non-renewable energy sources, will not take place at the same level. Either it takes a very long period of time. Okay, children? So what are the non-renewable energy sources that we use, children? So we use fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, it takes a long period of time to reproduce, right? To produce these fossil fuel, but we use it within a shorter period of time. Okay, children? So I hope you understood about renewable and non-renewable energy sources using this activity. Right, children. So you all observed what happened. Even though this experiment explains to do the experiment, this activity with 4 friends, I showed you all how to do with 1 person as well. So what happened, children? When you do this activity, the water level in tank A does not change. It remains the same. But what happens to the water level in tank B? Tank B water level goes down. Right, children? So after doing this activity, we can get an idea about renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Even in the lab, I explained you all. Renewable energy sources, while we are using a certain type of energy, that energy sources, right, that energy will reproduce within the same period of time. Right, okay. So this tank A represents renewable energy sources. Therefore, it will never get over. But when you consider tank B, right, it represents non-renewable energy sources. So as we use, according to the same amount we use, it will not reproduce. So it takes a long time to reproduce. The amount reproduced is also little. Okay, children, therefore, tank A represents renewable energy sources and tank B represents non-renewable energy sources, right? We will write the observation. The water level in the first tank. In the first tank, this is tank A, does not change. The water level in the second tank. B reduces with time. Right, children? The water level in the first tank or tank A does not change. The water level in the second tank or tank B reduces with time. So the conclusion, tank A represents renewable energy sources. Tank B represents non-renewable energy sources. Right, children? Tank A represents renewable energy sources while tank B represents non-renewable energy sources, right? Okay. So renewable energy sources are energy sources that are reproduced during use or while using or within a short period of time after use. Even after using, within a very short period of time, they are produced again. Okay, so this is the definition. Energy sources that are renewable energy sources are energy sources that are reproduced during use or within a short period of time after use. What are the examples? What are these energy sources? Right? Solar power. Right? Wind. Flowing water. Flowing water. What else? Biomass. Right? Solar power, wind, flowing water, biomass. What else, children? We can write sea waves, tidal waves. Right, children? Geothermal energy. Geothermal energy. Right? They all are coming under renewable energy sources. They are always there, or within a very short period of time, they are reproduced. Right? Non-renewable sources are not reproduced after use. Right? Not reproduced after use. Otherwise, it takes a long period of time to be reproduced. Right? It takes a long period of time to be reproduced. So basically, as examples, we can learn about fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, there are three main types of fossil fuels. What are they, children? Even last year we learned them. Right? Mineral oil, coal, natural gas. Natural gas. Those are the fossil fuel types, okay? So what are the other non-renewable energy sources? Nuclear power. Nuclear power. Right. Okay. So we learned that when we consider different types of energy sources, now we need energy sources, different types of energy to do work. Right. So the places or the things that provide energy are called energy sources. So depending on the time taken to reproduce these energy sources, there are two types of energy sources, renewable and non-renewable energy sources. So renewable energy sources, while we are using a certain type of energy source, all within a short period after using it, they are reproduced. Examples we learned: solar power, wind, flowing water, biomass, sea waves, tidal waves, geothermal energy likewise. Right? And non-renewable energy sources, they are either not reproduced at all, or they take a very long period of time to reproduce. Right? Examples: fossil fuels like mineral oil, coal, natural gas, and also nuclear power. So now we are going to learn about these energy sources separately, right? So first we are going to learn about renewable energy sources. So as the first renewable energy source, we are going to learn about solar power. Now you all are very well aware about solar power. Why do we need solar power? What is the importance of solar power, right? What are the advantages of using solar power likewise? Okay. So can we live without the solar energy, children? We cannot. What are the benefits we gain by solar power? What are the importances of solar power, children? You all know solar energy, because of the heat given by the sun, Earth is kept at the correct temperature. Just imagine if the sun's heat was not there, the Earth will be a freezing ball. Okay, so then what happens? Because of the heat that we get because of solar power, we can do all the biological activities. Right, children? And at the same time, plants can do photosynthesis because of sunlight. You all know that sunlight is one essential factor needed for photosynthesis, so production of food in plants. Okay, children, and here solar power, because of the energy contained in this solar energy, we can get our day-to-day work done. We can dry different things like our wet clothes, grains, etc. And we learn that solar energy can be used to generate electricity as well using solar panels. Okay, solar energy can be used to heat water too. Right? Okay. So solar power gives us light as well as heat. Both light and heat are forms of energy. Right? So the reason for the wind in the atmosphere and waves in the sea is also solar power. So why solar energy is the reason for the wind in the atmosphere, children? Even this one we have learned before. Wind is formed because of solar energy. I will briefly explain how. So when you consider different parts of the earth, because of sunlight, because of solar energy, different parts of the earth gets heated up. But this heating up of the earth takes place at different levels. Let's say that some areas get more solar heat than the other areas at particular time periods, right? Let's say certain parts, let's say that this part of the earth gets heated up because of solar energy. If this part gets heated up, then what happens? The temperature increases, right? Because of solar energy, if that happens, right? That particular part gets heated up faster than the other areas. Then what happens? Because of this heat of the earth, the adjacent air layers absorb this heat. Right, children? These air layers, the adjacent air layers also absorb this heat, and the air layer next to the earth also gets heated up. Now in the temperature lesson, we learn about formation of convectional currents, right? What happens to the heated air particles, children? They become lighter, their density reduces, and this heated air or hot air becomes lighter. Where does light air go? Light air goes up, right? Now this light air goes up. Then what happens? So in this area where air particles, a lot of air particles were there, a low pressure area is created, right? A low pressure area is created in particular areas. So in order to fill this gap in this low pressure area, air flows from the surroundings. Air flows from the surroundings, and this air that flows from one place to another place is known as the wind. Right, children? So wind forms as a temperature difference in different places of the earth. That happens because of solar energy. Right, children? So the reason for the wind in the atmosphere and waves in the sea. Now, because of formation of wind, sea waves also occur. Sea wave moves along with wind to one direction. So sea waves also form because of the wind. Wind forms because of solar heat. Right, children? Okay. So in some houses, solar heaters can be seen on roofs. Right? So these heaters are used to boil water for purposes such as bathing. So let's say that in some bathrooms for bathing purpose, when we need hot water, we have to fix geysers. These geysers use electricity, right? So it consumes a large amount of electricity. We can get the same thing done. We can heat water using solar energy. So some of you must have seen that these solar water heaters are fixed on the roofs of houses. Okay, children, so some of you must have seen that these type of solar water heaters are fixed on the roofs of the houses. So using solar energy without using electrical energy, right? Using solar energy, we can heat water, right? Solar energy we get free of charge, okay? But electricity is not like that, children. Therefore, this is an efficient method of heating water, right, children? We'll move on to the next. Right, children. We have to do this activity, constructing a simple solar heater. So what do we need? We need a water tank. Okay, we need to color this tank in black color, right? And we need a rubber pipe, which is black in color, or we have to color it in black, right? And we need plastic pipes, and we need a black colored coverlet or like piece of cloth, okay? Right, we will write a water tank. Rubber pipe, plastic pipes, pieces, and a black colored coverlet. Black colored coverlet. Right, black color polythene or black color piece of paper or cloth, right? So prepare the setup as shown in the figure. Look at this setup. It is a model of a solar heater. Look at this very carefully. Right, the water tank should be colored in black. You all can see how it is. And then one plastic pipe should be connected from a lower area of the water tank like this. And that plastic pipe should be taken to the panel like this, right? This is a black colored pipe, right? This is the panel. The bottom of the panel should be covered with a black color piece of cloth or piece of paper. And then that plastic pipe should be taken to the bottom of this black colored pipe. And from there you have to fix the black color other pipe. Okay, now here this is the plastic pipe. This should be the black color pipe. You have to fix it in a certain way that it should go like this, right? Okay, so when you make it like this a certain way that it is bent or like a spiral, then what happens? Its length increases. Right, children? So you have to fix the black color pipe in this manner. And from the upper side of the panel, right, black color panel, you have to connect this black color rubber pipe to a plastic pipe. Right, you have to connect it to a plastic pipe. And the plastic pipe should be taken and fixed to the upper part of the water tank. Right? So when you fill the water to this water tank, look at these red color arrows. This water, because this pipe is at somewhere bottom of this tank, right? This pipe is connected to somewhere bottom. Let's say that if the water level is somewhere here, then what happens? This water, when you fill this water automatically flows down, right? Cold water flows down, and when it goes through this pipe, it enters this pipe, slowly goes up. It takes time to go up because because of the length of this black color pipe. And the other thing, it has to go from down to up, which means against gravity. Therefore, it takes a little longer, which means that amount of water stays inside this black color pipe, right, for a certain period of time, right? And then from this side, it goes out and goes back to the water tank. Then it flows into the water tank, and again this happens in a circular manner, right? What is the reason to color all these surfaces in black, children? So in the heat and temperature lesson, we learned that black color surfaces absorb radiated heat faster. So we are going to heat this water using the solar heat. So solar heat is an example for radiated heat, right, or radiation. So here, this radiated heat is nicely absorbed by this entire setup because the surfaces are black color. Right, children? So here what happens, because of absorbing heat efficiently, the water gets heated up faster. Right, children? So here, prepare the setup as shown in the figure. It is a model of a solar heater. Fill the tank with water and place it in a place where there is plenty of sunlight, right? Record the temperature of the water in the tank after about 15 minutes. So when I'm doing this activity, before I fill this tank with water, I'm going to measure the initial temperature, and after about 15-20 minutes, I'm going to measure the temperature again, and then we can come to a conclusion. Right, children? We'll do this activity now. Right, children? Here I have the simple solar heater. Okay. Now here you all can see this is a black color box. All the setup, entire setup is colored in black. Okay, children. Now you all can see to this black color box here I have fixed a lid like this. Okay, so we can put water. Here we have water. We can put water by opening this lid. Okay, so here you all can see this is a black color box. Right, the entire setup is black in color. And here there's a lid, so that by opening this lid, we can pour water into this setup, okay, to this box. Right, you all can see from here a black color wire is connected. So when you fill water, this water goes through this wire to the bottom of this setup, and from there it flows upwards and then again comes back to the black color box from this place. Okay, children. So then I will show you how to use this setup, children. Now here I have some water. I'm going to check the initial temperature of this water first. Okay, observe carefully. Right. Observe carefully, children. Observe the temperature of this water. It is about 33 degrees Celsius. Okay, children. Initial temperature is about 33 degrees Celsius. Now I'm going to show you all. We can heat this water up faster when you pour this water into this simple solar heater. Okay. Right. I'll open the lid. Here I have a small funnel. Right, children. Now we need to expose this setup. Now here this place there is plenty of sunlight. Therefore, I am going to leave this setup here for about 15 to 20 minutes. Right, children. So I left this setup exposed to sunlight for about 20 minutes now. Now we will measure the final temperature. Now initial temperature was about 33 degrees Celsius. Okay. Right. Now observe carefully. Right, children. So you all can see very clearly now the temperature is about 37 degrees Celsius. Earlier it was 33 degrees Celsius, and when we left it outside in this setup, what happened, children? It increased up to 37 degrees Celsius. What is the reason, children? Because this setup, this simple solar heater, efficiently heats up water using solar energy. Now I will explain you all how can we increase the efficiency. What are the steps taken to increase the efficiency of this setup, children? Number one, we have colored the entire setup in black. Now you all know, as you learn the temperature lesson, 14th lesson, now we know that black color surfaces absorb solar heat faster, radiated heat faster. Okay, so here, because now solar heat is considered as radiated heat, radiation. Okay, so because we have colored the entire setup in black, this setup can absorb solar heat faster, and thereby the water gets heated up faster. Okay, children. And secondly, you all can see this water first goes down and then from there water comes up. Right, children? Okay. So here water goes down and here it comes up from down to up. Okay, now here this setup is a bit slanted. Therefore, as we fill water from this wire, this tube, water straight away goes down. Right? So, you all know that when something goes up against gravity, it takes a little long time. Okay, therefore, water gets enough time now because of that, because water goes from down to up, water moves through this one a little slowly. Therefore, water stays in this tube for a little longer time. Therefore, it gets more chance to absorb heat. Right, children? And at the same time, because we have used a coiled wire like this, what if we use a shorter wire? This wire goes from here to straight away here without going round and round like this. Then what happens? If we use a shorter wire, then again water stays inside these tubes only for a shorter period of time. Right? Because we have increased the length of this tube, water gets chance to stay longer inside this setup and thereby to heat or absorb heat more and more. Okay, children. So, I hope you understood the function of the simple solar heater. Right, children. So, you observed what happened. So, we made a model solar heater, right? Solar water heater. So, we made the setup like this, and every single time we use black color surfaces, right? So, after observed it after about 15 minutes, what happens, children? So, I showed you all the initial temperature and final temperature after about 15 minutes. So, the temperature, the final temperature was higher than that of the initial temperature. So, why does this happen, children? Because of all these conditions, the water gets heated up due to solar heat very well, right? The black color surfaces we use, black color absorbs radiated heat well, right? Solar radiation well. And at the same time, here we use a long tube. Instead of using a shorter tube, we used a long tube like this in a spiral manner, and because of that the length of the tube increases so that more water will be inside this black color panel within a certain period of time, right? And at the same time, because this water flows from inside this panel, water flows from bottom to top, what happens? It goes against gravity, therefore the speed will be low, which means the certain amount of water will be inside this setup, in this panel for a certain period of time. So when water present inside this panel for a certain period of time, because all the surfaces are black in color, it gets heated up faster. Right? That is why the final temperature increases. Okay? Right. We will write the observation. When observed, after about 15 minutes, we could see that the temperature of water higher than the initial temperature. Right? When observed after about 15 minutes, we could see that the temperature of water is higher than the initial temperature, which means this setup or this model solar water heater works very well. Okay? So here the same description. There is a long pipe on which the surface is black in the panel. Right? It is fixed on a black colored surface too. it should be fixed in a manner as to allow solar heat to fall on the panel, which means you have to direct it towards sunlight, okay? As the black colored surface absorbs more solar heat, the water inside the pipe is heated by solar heat. Right. The heated water flows through the water tank through the pipe above the water tank. Right. Cool water is at the bottom of the tank. That water flows into the coiled pipe through the pipe at the bottom. When that water is also heated, it flows to the tank through the pipe above. All these things what we explained. As this is a continuous process, water can be heated by this process. Right, children? Okay. So we'll move on to the next. So we have another activity. This time also this is related to solar heat. Okay. Finding out the effect of the size of the solar heat cooker on its function. What is a solar heat cooker? Even in grade 6 we learn about solar heat cooker or solar thermal cooker. Solar thermal cookers are used to cook food using sunlight. Right? So these solar thermal cookers are large concave surfaces. Right? This concave surface is shiny, silver color. Right? Because it's like a mirror, silver in color. What happens, children? When sunlight falls onto this surface, it gets reflected and all these light rays will collect at the same place, same point. So if we place a certain vessel on that place, right, on that point, what happens? We can cook food. Okay, because there the temperatures high. Okay, children. So here we are going to finding out the effect of the size of the solar heat cooker, the size of this surface, right? So to do this one, what do we need? We need torch reflectors. What is a torch reflector? Look at this object, right? Torch reflector. So when you consider torch, right? So a bulb of the torch is connected to a concave surface like this. Right? So here we are going to use this concave surface or the torch reflector as the solar thermal cooker or solar heat cooker surface. Okay, so we need different sized these type of torch reflectors. Right? We will write torch reflectors of different sizes. Right, torch reflectors of different sizes. We need it different size because we are going to find out the effect of the size of the solar heat cooker on its function or solar thermal cooker on its function. Right, so we are going to use these different size solar torch reflectors as our solar thermal cookers. Okay, and then we need several matchsticks. Several matchsticks and clay, small pieces of clay. Right, so instead of this torch reflectors, any other concave, shiny mirror-like concave surface also you can use. Okay, so torch reflectors of different sizes, several matchsticks and clay. Okay, we'll see how to do this activity. So look at this diagram. You all can see here, this is the torch reflector and the matchstick. We will label this torch reflector. This is the piece of clay. This is the matchstick. Torch reflector, matchstick, piece of clay. Right, children? So fix a matchstick in the hole of the torch reflector with the help of clay. Right? There's a small hole in this torch reflector like this. So you have to find that place and you have to fix a matchstick to that hole using a piece of clay, right? Turn the reflector towards sunlight. You have to do this activity outside, okay, where there is plenty of sunlight, right? Turn the reflector towards sunlight. Place it in a position in which the top of the match is set as the point where sunlight is collected. So the match head should be placed at the midpoint of this reflector, okay, in the place where the sunlight is collected. Do you remember I told you all, when you consider solar thermal cooker, sunlight falls into this surface, concave surface, and they get reflected and collected at the same point. So you have to find that point, and in this point you have to fix the matchstick, and the match head should be here, right? So we are going to light this matchstick using the solar energy, okay? So turn the reflector towards sunlight, place it in a position in which the top of the match is set at the point where sunlight is collected, right? Measure the time it takes to light the matchstick. So here you have to set it up and you have to wait for some time period. So while waiting, you have to measure the time. Okay, children, you have to measure the time taken for this match head to catch fire. Okay, children. So here what happens when sunlight falls onto these torch reflectors, it acts as a solar thermal cooker. So all the sunlight or the light rays get reflected and it will collect at this point where the match head is placed. So then, because when the temperature increases, when more and more light rays collected at that place, the temperature will increase because of the sun's heat. And at one point, when the temperature is enough to light this matchstick, it will light up, right? So we are going to use different size torch reflectors and check whether this time taken to light the matchstick is similar or not. Okay, measure the time it takes to light the matchstick, right? Do this experiment by using torch reflectors of different sizes and measure the time on each occasion. Do this activity as an instructive model. Now here, in this activity, we are going to do this using two reflector surfaces, okay? So at school, you can try it with other surfaces as well, right? Number of surfaces. Okay, children, let's do this activity now. Right, children. In this activity, we are going to check the effect of the size of the solar thermal cookers on its efficiency. Now, we all know that we can make solar thermal cookers using huge concave surfaces, shiny mirror-like surfaces. Okay, children? So, we are going to check whether when the size of the solar thermal cooker or the surface changes, increase or decrease, the efficiency also gets affected. Okay, children? So, in this case, you all can see I have made these two concave surfaces. To each surface, in the middle, I have connected the matchstick. Right, children? Now, I am going to fix these surfaces separately and I am going to fix it in a way that it directs towards sunlight, which means that side we are getting sunlight at the moment. Okay, children? Therefore, I am going to check what is the time taken for this matchstick to get heated up and thereby to light up. Now, when we do this activity, as the sunlight falls onto this surface, the sunlight gets reflected by this concave surface and it will direct to the midpoint where I place the matchstick, right, the match head. So, when all these light rays get collected onto this place where the match head is present, it will get heated up and it will light up. So, we are going to check the time taken to light up this match head, okay? Right. I will fix this small setup. You all can see there are two sizes. I am going to fix this small setup first. And I am going to, right, I am going to turn this on. We'll check the time. Right, children. You all can see it caught fire, okay? it lighted up. We'll check the time. We can take it as 5.5 or 6 minutes. Okay, observe carefully. It's a little less than 6 minutes. Okay, children? Right. So it took about 6 minutes to catch fire by this matchstick, by this match head when we use the small reflector. Okay. Now I am going to remove this one. I am going to put this back. And then I am now going to connect this large reflector. Okay, large reflector towards the same direction. So now we are going to check what happens. Now earlier when we connected the small torch reflector, what happened, children? We observed that the matchstick catches fire, the match head catches fire when the time goes about 5 to 6 minutes. Right, it was 6 minutes. Okay, after about 6 minutes, because of the reflection of light by this setup, this match head caught fire. Okay, started to light up. We will check this one as well. Right, children? Okay. So again, the second reflector matchstick also caught fire. Okay, let's check the time this time. Right, it's about 4.5 minutes, less time than before. Okay, so observe carefully, it's about 4.5 minutes. Earlier, when we used the small reflector, what happened, children? The time taken was about 6 minutes. Okay, now this time when we use the larger reflector, it was about 4.5 minutes, which means the time taken was less. Okay, children. So it's very clear that when we increase the size of this reflector, when we consider solar thermal stove or solar thermal cookers, when we increase the size of the solar thermal cookers, now you imagine this is a solar thermal cooker, the same thing takes place. When the size of the solar thermal surface, the cooker surface increases, its effectivity increases, which means it gets heated up faster, right? That is because it can collect more and more light rays and thereby it can be directed to the midpoint, okay, or to the focus. Okay, children? So that is why the effectiveness of the solar thermal stove or the solar thermal cooker increases when its size also increases. Right, children? So you observed what happened. So to do this activity, I used 2 reflectors. So what happened, children? I set the setup like this and then we measured the time for the match head to light up. So then what happened, children? The less time was taken when we fixed this matchstick to the big surface or big reflector. Right? There what happens when the surface is bigger, surface of the solar thermal or solar heat cooker is bigger, it can collect more and more light rays and thereby more heat is also produced. Okay? Right. We will write these things. Observation. The matchstick connected to the big surface lights up faster. Right? The matchstick connected to the big surface lights up faster. That was our observation. So what is the conclusion? We will write, when the area of the solar heat cooker increases. What happens? Now here this happens because the matchstick, in order to light up, the match head should get heat up to a certain amount, right? So that happens faster when we use big surfaces, which means in the same way when we use solar heat cookers, when we use bigger, when the size of the surface is higher, what happens, children? It can heat up faster, okay? When the area of the solar heat cooker increases, it heats up faster. Right? When the area of the solar heat cooker increases, it heats up faster, and then what happens to the efficiency? Efficiency is also higher. Right? So here the same thing, you will observe that the time taken to light the match is decreased when the size of the reflector increases. Okay? A similar process takes place in the solar heat cooker too. When the area of a solar heat cooker is increased, right? We'll underline this. When the area of a solar heat cooker is increased, the amount of heat that can be obtained from it also increased. Right, children? So solar energy is transformed into electricity by solar cells. We have learned about solar cells and solar panels before during the electricity lesson, right? So solar energy is transformed into electricity by solar cells. So when sunlight falls onto the solar cells and solar panels, what happens? It is converted to electrical energy, right? Solar cells were first produced to provide electricity to artificial satellites, right? Artificial satellites. But nowadays we use these solar panels in other purposes as well, right? At present, they are used in calculators, experiment with electric cars, street lamps, and also aeroplanes. These are the other instances where solar cells and solar panels are used. Right, children? Okay. So we have this other activity, right, in order to study how a solar cell or solar panel works. Generating electricity from solar batteries. Solar battery means solar panel. So in order to do this activity, you need a solar battery and a multimeter. A solar battery and a multimeter. So using the multimeter, you can measure the electric current, and you can even measure the voltage, and also you can measure the resistance of a circuit. Okay, so you need a solar battery and a multimeter. Let's see how to do this activity. Find a solar panel, connect it to a motor, and direct the solar panel towards the sunlight. Right? Now we know, we have the knowledge about solar panels now. We know now without sunlight, solar panels will not work. Only in the presence of sunlight, solar panels can generate electricity. So here, if not remove the solar panel in a calculator with the help of an adult, you must have seen in some calculators on a side, right? When you consider some calculators, observe carefully if you have calculators at home. In some calculators, in a side like this, a small solar panel is there. Right? Okay. And then connect the connective wires to the multimeter. Adjust the multimeter to the scale of a milliampere to measure the electric current. And then direct the solar batteries to the sunlight and check the index of the multimeter. You have to check whether the multimeter works. You have to fix the multimeter to the solar panel and then expose it to light and check whether the multimeter works. Now here, in addition to this multimeter, I am going to fix a small motor with a small fan and do the same activity. Right, children? We'll do this activity now. Right, children? Now we are going to generate electricity using solar batteries. Now solar battery is a solar panel. Okay, so solar panel is made by combining small solar cells. Okay, so the battery made by combining solar cell is known as a solar panel. Okay, right, look at this solar panel. This is a solar panel. Now you all can see I have connected this to a small motor. Right, at the moment motor is not working. Okay, so now I'm going to connect this only from one side. Motor is connected to this solar panel. I'm going to connect the other terminal as well. Observe what happens. Right, so you all can see the motor rotates. Okay. Right, children. So now I'm going to close this solar panel. Okay. Now as we are outside now, the solar panel nicely gets enough sunlight. Okay. Let's see what happens if when I cover this solar panel with a piece of paper. Okay. Now this is rotating. What happens, children? So when I cover the solar panel with this paper, the rotation of the small fan, small motor stops. What is the reason? So without sunlight, the solar panel cannot generate electricity. Now again when I open it, right children? So you all can see what happens there. So when I cover this solar panel cannot generate electricity. That is because it does not get enough sunlight. Okay, right. So it's very clear that in order to generate electricity, the solar panel should get sunlight. Okay, right. Now here we have a multimeter, right? Look, now at the moment this indicator of this multimeter is at 0, which means electricity is not passing through this one. This is not working. Okay, now I will take these two terminals of the multimeter and I will place it. Check what happens this time. The indicator nicely moves. Okay, right. Again when I take it, it goes back. Right. Okay, what is the reason, children? The multimeter indicator moves only when an electric current passes through this, which means when we connect it to this solar panel, what happens? An electric current passes through this, which means using the sunlight, solar panel can generate electricity. Right, children. So you observe that activity. So even this activity says to connect the solar panel to a multimeter, I connected it to a multimeter as well as to a small motor with a fan. So then what happened, children? When we expose this solar panel to sunlight, what happens? The small motor rotates and the indicator of the multimeter also deflects. Okay. So we will write these observations. The indicator of the multimeter deflects. The small motor rotates. We will write this within brackets because this is not given in the activity. This is an additional step we took, right? The indicator of the multimeter deflects, the small motor rotates, right? So your conclusion. So both the observations take place in the presence of electric current. Okay, only if electricity is generated, both these instances take place, observations take place. Therefore, we can come to a conclusion that when solar panels are exposed to sunlight, they generate electricity, right? When solar panels or solar batteries are exposed to sunlight, they generate electricity. Right? When solar panels are exposed to sunlight, they generate electricity. Right, children? So here, instances where solar panels are used. Okay, so here street lamps operating from solar batteries. So during the daytime, these small solar panels are directed towards sunlight. So during daytime, what happens? In the presence of sunlight, they generate electricity, and these electricity generated are stored in small batteries. And during the night time, using that stored electricity, these street lamps work. Okay, now here, this is an instance where vehicles use solar panels, a vehicle operating from solar batteries. Right, children? Okay. So when you consider solar energy, There are many advantages, but there are disadvantages as well. So we'll go through them. So even though solar power is renewable means readily available, right? And profitable, there are some disadvantages of it. Another advantage of using solar panels to generate electricity is it does not cause environmental pollution most of the time. The environmental pollution is minimized, right? And then solar batteries are very expensive. That is one of the disadvantages, right? Solar batteries are very expensive. So in order to install these type of solar panels, the initial cost is very high. Okay? And then at the same time, so cloudy sky reduces the effectiveness of solar batteries. So in order to generate electricity efficiently using these solar panels, strong sunlight should be there, right? But here, if the sky is cloudy, the sufficient amounts of sunlight will not fall onto these solar panels, and thereby the energy generated is also less, okay? The electricity generated by solar power can be stored in batteries, which is a good thing, but at the same time, here, however, only a small amount of electricity can be stored in batteries, and they should be disposed of in a proper method after discharging. Right, so these batteries otherwise cause environmental pollution. So normally when we consider the use of solar cells and solar panels, the environmental pollution takes place minimum way. But at the same time, if you don't dispose these batteries in the correct way, because of the substances, chemicals present in these batteries cause environmental pollution, right? So improper disposal will cause environmental pollution. Right, children? So advantages and disadvantages both are there, right? Okay. Now here, look at this picture. A bus stop which lightens up in the night using solar power stored during the daytime. Just as that street lamp, in those street lamps. So here most of the time, these type of bus stops, the solar panel is fixed on the roof, and during the daytime, it generates electricity and the battery gets charged. Battery can store the electric current, right? And then what happens during the night time? These places get lightened up using that stored electricity. Right, children? So we have come to the end of the first chapter of this lesson. So in this chapter, we learn about renewable and non-renewable energy sources. And then we learn about solar energy or solar power as a renewable energy source. So in the next chapters, we are going to learn about the other renewable and non-renewable energy sources.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.